Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual incubator and accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion in global GDP, and 10 million jobs. Now, in support of that mission, we do these free public mentoring roundtables. This is our 271st session. We do this out of Silicon Valley. I do this out of Silicon Valley, but we have entrepreneurs from all over the world coming. And over the years, we've had over 30,000 people participate in these sessions. So it's been going on for a while and has had quite a track record. The event is being recorded. You will find recordings on our YouTube channel as well as on the blog. If you're live tweeting the show, please hashtag 1M1M. And our Twitter handles are at 1M by 1M and at Sramana. There's a lot of interesting content that we publish through the Twitter channel. And the YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables, where you will find recordings of all prior sessions. These are the call-in instructions. We're not quite ready for call-in yet, but make a note of the numbers and definitely keep thinking about the questions that you want to ask. Remember, this is a roundtable, right? It's not a broadcast, it's a roundtable. So we want you to participate as much as possible. And wherever it is that you're dialing from, we want to hear from you. So either using the phone number that's on your screen or using the public chat, let's make sure that you call in or participate. And we want to work with you. This is a working session. But first, we're going to start with Tom Fallenstein. Tom is a very, very interesting entrepreneur that I met a few months ago, and we covered his story, fun.com, on the Entrepreneur Journey series on the blog. And I found it very interesting what he's doing, and so I chose to invite him to come and talk to us, to our audience here. So Tom, welcome. Thank you for making time to be here today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So Tom, let's start with introducing our company, our audience to your company. Tell us what you do and how you do what you do.
Sure. So fun.com, what is fun.com? Basically, we're a bunch of very nerdy people who get to sell a bunch of nerdy pop culture product online. We've got three main brands. So we have HalloweenCostumes.com, Shirts.com, and Fun.com. So HalloweenCostumes.com is kind of how we got started. Halloween industry has kind of been in my family forever. So my sister started a costume rental business back in 1992. Basically just started renting the costumes our mom had made for us growing up. And that was kind of what they did for 10 years. And back in 2002, I started the first website around costumes, which was flappercostumes.com. Basically had one costume in 3 different colors on a website I was building, and my sisters were the models, and I had 3 shelves in my college dorm, and that's how the first website started. And basically in 2004 is when I graduated. By then I had built a couple other websites, StarWarsCostumes.com and WizardofOzCostumes.com. So I only had limited funding. It kind of started very small, knowing this is the amount of funding I had, and I could be very specific about the types of product that I carried and could be the best at selling Wizard of Oz costumes. In 2004, I was working out of my parents' house full-time then after I graduated from college. And that's kind of the year everything really exploded. So we went from my parents' house to a 50,000 square foot facility. A few years later, or went to a 10,000 square foot facility. A few years later, went to a 50,000 square foot facility. And now 9 years, we're in a 200,000 square foot facility. We've got 150 full-time staff. We bring on 1,700 seasonal staff for our Halloween season. So that's kind of our Halloween business. And now we acquired Shirts.com back in 2010 to kind of help blend our seasonality a little bit. And now recently, fun.com, which is a domain I've been trying to get for almost 6 years. Just acquired that a couple years ago, and now that's kind of our all-encompassing brand. So you can get everything from, our costumes to shirts to hoodies, sweatshirts, to bobbleheads, to any kind of pop culture product that you have a favorite movie, we probably have a product that you would love to have on your desk.
So, Tom, you've built a $55 million a year business with no outside financing. What are some of the key strategic moves you've made to be able to pull off that very difficult feat?
Sure. Well, first of all, it started very small, right? So I only had $5,000 for the first website, built it all by hand, learned SEO by hand. So I basically just spent the $5,000 on product, and I had it all fit in one closet in my college house. So I guess one part of that is just starting small, and I was able to kind of grow naturally just by reinvesting what I had made every year into the company. The other benefit really was because of the Halloween industry. So the Halloween industry back in the 80s, when it was really starting to explode, the vendors that we purchased from were trying to get their product that they make out into the public. And they were trying to sell to like magic stores and different places because there were no such thing as like Halloween stores. One thing they did to try to get those out there was, hey, you take the product and pay me in November. So there was very little risk for those people taking it on. And that mindset's kind of stayed for the last 30 years. So luckily, I'm still getting that benefit today where I'm buying, $3 million of product from one particular vendor, and they're still shipping that product now or as early as February, and I'm not paying for that product until November 10th. So one part was the Halloween industry, the other part was probably starting very small so we can gradually grow.
So the cash flow terms were very, very attractive. That allowed you to do a lot of interesting things with the inventory.
That's for sure, yeah.
So you also mentioned SEO. You have done some very, very interesting things with SEO that I would like to highlight in this conversation. Tell us a bit about your, SEO strategy and particularly what you've done with domain names. You seem to have really leveraged the hell out of domain names.
Sure. Yeah, when I was starting back in 2002, built the first website, Yahoo was the main search engine, and they had like one directory that basically everything was, all the listings, the results were coming from. So I actually have a slide from when I was in college where I was showing what SEO was to different students. And when you search flapper costumes, there was one result, and it was mine. And to think of that now, you search flapper costumes, you get like 3-4 million results. So back then it was a little easier. You could go online, test different things, and see what works. Obviously, that's changed quite a bit over the last 15 years. So kind of growing from, small niche sites, that's kind of what helped with SEO in the first place was I had a website for Wizard of Oz costumes, and I had every Wizard of Oz costume you could think of, so obviously I was the best result if someone specifically wanted Wizard of Oz costumes. So in addition to looking at keywords and people searching Dorothy costume or things like that, just the idea of I'm going to build a site that has the best product, widest array of products, all the price points on a very small niche piece of the pie. At least I could own that very small niche. And then it became very successful. So then I started building more sites in that similar way. So went to Star Wars costumes and then superhero costumes. I had 50 subdomains like that, just very small niche costume sites. And then around 2007, we wanted to expand, and we could only buy Wizard of Oz costumes from our vendors or Star Wars costumes from our vendors, so it kind of limited how big we could get. Also, people wouldn't probably repeat from us, because if you were a Wizard of Oz costume last year, you probably aren't going to be a Wizard of Oz costume next year. So that's when we started looking at, okay, what's the best domain for Halloween out there? And to me, it was HalloweenCostumes.com. So I did a bunch of research, saw who owned it. No one really was doing anything with the site, and found out it was actually one of our vendors who owned the site. So after some negotiation for about 6 months, kind of landed on a price and was able to acquire it. And by far was my best business move so far in my lifetime. So that was the first one, which obviously gives you confidence into purchasing some other ones. After Halloween costumes kind of exploded, we looked at, hey, you know, we're a very seasonal business. What's the next steps for us to kind of even out that seasonality? So shirts.com was a product that kind of came up for auction, landed very much in our pop culture mindset that we already had in costumes. And the seasonality of shirts is August for back to school and December for Christmas, which was perfectly around our October peak. So ideally we could keep people on seasonally longer and just kind of take full advantage of our infrastructure that we have. So that's why we acquired shirts.com and are expanding that quickly. And at that same time, I was trying to, what's the ultimate brand, you know, a domain that can be anything, you know, what's fun for me? Well, fun.com would be the ultimate domain. It's short, simple, everyone knows how to spell it, there's no plurals. So that one I was trying to acquire for quite some time, and luckily was able to acquire it a couple of years ago.
So the domain name has been a big, buying domain names has been a big piece of your search engine optimization strategy. Now, you've paid some top dollars for these domains, yes?
Yep. I mean, all of those three are above $1 million domains.
So that's something to note, is that these days domains do not come cheap.
They definitely don't.
Tom, you are based in rural Minnesota, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question that I want to explore with you is, how do your choices about bootstrapping versus doing a business with external financing, venture financing, have to do with the business culture in the Midwest and where you are, and the kind of, you know, background that you come from? How do you weigh these two options, and how has it featured in your journey?
Sure. You know, I don't know if it's all Midwest, or it's definitely my mindset anyway. You know, we've been approached by a lot of private equity groups who are interested in our story and our growth potential. But I think, you know, we want to see a lot longer future for the company. So a lot of private equity groups want to come in, look at what can we do in the next 5 years, and then sell it, go through another private equity group in another 5 years and sell it. And that mindset's just a little different from mine, of just what's super long-term best for the company. What's it look like, not just 10 years from now, 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now, and make decisions based off that versus something that could be very short-term and has very high upside or very low downsides. You know, a purchase like fun.com, super high risk dollar-wise, but long-term knowing, okay, what's a better domain than fun.com for the type of product we sell? You know, that domain's going to be around forever. So I can justify purchasing that and don't have to worry about, well, that might not make the bottom line in the first 3 to 5 years look really good. But I know in the next 20, 30 years, it will define our company. So, you know, I definitely look at not just the financial outcome, but how can we affect all of our employees in a positive way, which ultimately will affect all of our customers in an amazing way. So that's probably where my mindset focuses a little bit more, is on the employees and culture and our customers versus strictly financial, especially short-term financial.
You know, you get the sense here in Silicon Valley that entrepreneurship is all about the exit. You have a very different point of view. how do you think about exit? Is that an option? Is that something that you want? How do you evaluate the idea of an exit?
You know, I look at more of like, what's my life purpose at this point? So how can I affect as many people in a positive way, and ideally in a way that they couldn't, in a way that they couldn't do themselves. So if I can offer up a job for a person who's very passionate about video, and get to create that for them, you know, that's something they maybe couldn't find someplace else, especially in rural Minnesota. That's what really excites me. So how can I create a bunch of jobs and look for the future for, I guess, the best impact on my purpose being here?
I love companies that, you know, that are successful in places that are off-center, you know. Being successful in Silicon Valley is one thing. Being successful in rural Minnesota is a completely different level of impact on the community, on the, you know, job creation and so forth. So it's wonderful to see how well you're doing and how much impact you're having on that community and that economy.
Sure.
So one other question that is, you know, unique to your situation and is also worth understanding for our audience. Your business is largely owned by your family. Is that good or bad? What are the pros and cons? What do you like about that scenario? What do you dislike about that scenario? How do you, you know, what do you advise people who have family money in their businesses?
Sure. There's definitely pros and cons, I can tell you that.
Sure.
So I guess let's start with some of the pros. You know, especially starting small, when we had just explosive growth, and you know, in the early years, we literally had to unplug the phones because we couldn't handle enough orders or we couldn't help enough people. And during those early years, there's no one that'll help you more than your family. I mean, they were there from, you know, 7 in the morning, went to their full-time job, came back after 5 and worked till 2 in the morning, and would help get back up in the morning and help me again, you know, for an entire month. And we did that year after year after year for those, from 2004 to 2008. It was a lot of us just running the business and just as hard as we could work, get out every package, answer every email, order all the product, get the website updated. You know, we did it all manually, and luckily my family's just super hard workers and could help make that impact really quickly. So we saw just tremendous growth early because of that. You know, when we started probably seeing a little more struggle was, you know, once the company started getting really big, now it's, okay, who's in charge of what? So that's when you start seeing a little bit more arguments going on, and, you know, an argument with a coworker versus your sister is a whole lot different. So those are some of the struggles for sure, but there's definitely positives to it too, so that can go both ways.
You know, one of the issues that early stage entrepreneurs face, and this is very true when you're looking at ecosystems and geographies where the seed investment structure is not very mature, is they have to take money from friends and family. It's one of the most common ways that businesses get off the ground is by small amounts, probably very, very small amounts of friends and family money. And then if that situation does not turn out well, or if the friends and or family become extremely, you know, intrusive and meddling, so to speak, it can not turn out so well. Sometimes it turns out very well, and sometimes it doesn't turn out so well. So in your case, at least you've, you know, all the cons notwithstanding, you've got a very robust business that has scales over a period of time. You've been able to manage all the conflicts and the challenges of those interpersonal relationships in the family. So you've definitely walked a fine line quite well. So from the audience, do you have questions for Tom? We have a little bit of time for questions, and then we'll go to the mentoring session. Feel free to type in your question questions in the public chat? Go ahead, Shailaja, please type in your question.
You were mentioning, the impact we have locally. We're looking to hire 1,700 employees this Halloween season. We actually did a calculation of how many people is that from our local town. And our local town is about 50,000 people. So we did the math. We're like, we need to hire almost 3% of the total population of our town, which seems like just a feat that is impossible. But luckily, there's smaller towns around our facility. We're able to kind of bus people in, but we're definitely getting to the point where the small town doesn't have enough people to fulfill all of the jobs that we need. So the benefit and a disadvantage to have a smaller city, but seeing the impact that you make on that city is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, actually. You have Shailaja T from the audience. I think she's supposed to present actually later. She has launched Indian Doll, which is also a niche e-commerce company, and she has bootstrapped. So she's actually the next presenter. We can go to her presentation next. Let me take the other question from Brett Berhoff, who's asking, is a controversial mask costume good or bad business when it is all said and done? What does that mean? I don't understand your question, Brett. What is a controversial mask costume, good or bad business? What is that? Do you understand this question, Tom? Somebody is asking about
it. I think I understand.
I see. So, you want to take the question?
Sure. So every year there's some sort of public, product that maybe makes headlines. When BP oil spill happened, some of our vendors produced some BP oil spill costumes. You talk about Osama bin Laden and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that stuff gets a lot of publicity online. We tend to shy away from it a little bit, just knowing what our culture and values are. There's always something though that comes up, and people might take a classic costume. Right now Hulk Hogan's kind of in the news for some of his wording lately, so we expect Hulk Hogan sales probably will increase this year. Unfortunately, people will probably do some play on words and change Hulk Hogan to some other type of Hulk Hogan wordplay costume. So that's what people, consumers do that, and we have the costumes if they want to do that, but we probably aren't trying to promote those in a major way.
Okay. So Christian Van Voorst, you're sending me private messages. You need to send, there's a public chat. So if you have a question, you're welcome to write the question in the public chat. Please set it to send to all participants. We are going to go to the first presentation, that is Ashwin Swarup. Ashwin, are you on the call? Maureen, is Ashwin on the call?
Hello.
Hi, Ashwin.
Hi.
Go ahead and, so Tom is going to stay for a bit and participate in the mentoring session. And the first presenter from the entrepreneurs is Ashwin Swarup. So please go ahead and present, Ashwin, what you're doing.
Hello, everyone. This is my first time here. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to present our small startup. It's been 15 days since we have started our small startup, and we spent about 1 month of research before this. Our app is called Lookpick. It's a hyper-local fashion discovery app. The idea is that it runs on the concept of research online and purchase offline, which was a study done earlier, in which they found that people in the age group between 20 to 30 still prefer to shop offline, even though their research their purchases online. So it's a take on that. Next slide, please. So this is our team. We have worked earlier on an analytics product. So we have executed a particular an analytics product before this. So we are well gelled, and this is our second startup. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the idea here is that we are trying to address two problems of both users and retailers, and this is very India-centric, and we have done our research in metro cities across India. The problems that we are trying to solve for users is that, especially in the garment segment or the clothing segment, users need not visit the locals, need to know which local stores, what local stores are selling in order to find out whether that particular cloth exists or not. So they need to visit various stores before they know what they're selling. And the second problem is they need to know whether that garment fits them before they have bought. So this problem exists also on online e-commerce, where people are buying clothes but they don't know whether those clothes fit them until they reach their doorstep. So this is a problem they have. And on the side of retailers, retailers have been definitely hit by e-commerce. So the questions that they're trying to address is, how do I get new customers? So they already have a set of loyal customers. So the question is, how do they get new ones? And then the second problem is, how do they increase the average sales that they have per product? So the solution, how we are solving this problem is that we are saying that users get recommendations of what products are being sold in local stores, and that is that is given to us by the retailers. So we sign up retailers and we pass these the data about what they're selling and along with recommendations to users. So next slide, please. So how this works is, LookTip is a platform on which we register different retailers, and we get their inventory of different garments that they have. Then we combine them with recommendations based on past purchases of the users which we have, along with what are the current social trends that are running, and combine it with crowd intelligence, and then give this as push notifications to shoppers. Now, imagine a case scenario where a shopper is within a 5 kilometers radius and he's traveling to a given area, and especially given our cities which are huge. So as soon as he enters a particular area, he gets a push notification saying that a particular shop is selling a particular garment which he likes at a discount of around 30%. So he could definitely go, because he knows exactly where the shop is, he could definitely go and pick it up. The benefit that the retailer gets is that because the customer is coming to the store, he can upsell and cross-sell more clothes along with that particular garment that the user likes. That is what he's getting. And this gets recorded in our system, so we get a history of the different patterns by which the user is buying clothes. So we get a general sense of what fashion trends are, and give these analytics back to the user, the retailer. Next slide, please. So we did a bit of research on how the market is in India. So we found that the total addressable market is $50 billion in the offline apparel industry. And e-commerce has not yet penetrated. There's a large set of users who are still purchasing offline. So we want to target them. Next slide, please. So we did an extensive comparator analysis. So as you can see that we have quite a few hyperlocal market apps which have got funding, but none of them are, but there's no clear leader, because all of them have started in, irrespective of when they started, the market is taking off in 2015. So there's no clear leader in the market, and none of them have a personalized recommendation engine, because none of them are on a social platform, apart from Roposo, which is a social platform but no sales there. This is our business goals for the next 6 months. So we have already launched our, we are targeting retailers first, so that we can build a base of products that we can show to our users. So we have started signing up different retailers within Hyderabad and Bangalore at 7 stores per day. So we are visiting stores, each store, and talking to the retailer and signing them up. In September, we will come out with our app, which will basically face the users and let them browse different kind of products that are being sold by our retailers. Then by end of the pricing structure, by the end of October, we should be reaching 40 paid retailers. And in November, we're going to come out with our recommendation engine because there's a bit of machine intelligence involved which we are building in, and that's how we take off for the next 6 months. So using this plan,
have you started? Sorry, Ashwin, have you started actually succeeding in selling to these retailers? Are retailers signing up, and are they willing to pay?
25 retailers have so far agreed to pay us. We have signed up around 50 retailers. So,
50 retailers. One second. 50 retailers have agreed to pay the 1,500 Indian rupees is your pricing model. This is a validated pricing model at this point? Yeah,
they say the thing is that retailers often spend 2 to 3 lakhs rupees just on hoardings. So they found 1,500 to be economical. So we have targeted 50 retailers. We have signed them up, of which 25 have agreed to pay us.
Okay. All right.
So we are covering around 7 retailers per day. We are ourselves traveling. 2 of us, we are co-founders. We are traveling and we're signing them up. So this is we have 3 revenue streams. One is the subscription fee. What they get in subscription fee is essentially the push notifications that we give to our users that this particular product is being sold in this particular area at this particular rate. That is what we're selling. That's the subscription that people who subscribe to our product get that, and their products are chosen into our recommendation engine. So that's what we're charging them for. We also intend to have an ad revenue once we have built a substantial user base. And then we also have a pay-as-you-go model. That is, in case retailers do not wish to pay us 1,500 per month, they could choose to pay for one particular notification. Say that, oh, I've got a mid-season sale, I just want to pay for that one notification, they can pay us.
So you have to be careful about, you know, if it's in India, everything is a high-touch sales cycle. So if it's a high-touch sales cycle and people are not willing to pay, they're willing to pay piecemeal and very little, it's not going to be profitable for you to work with these retailers. You should focus on the ones who are willing to pay.
Right. Yes. I mean, the thing is that the revenue stream which we are asking, the third revenue stream is for people whom we are not able to convert. That is, out of the 50 that we targeted, we just converted 25. So the other 25 needed some method of getting their news across. So that's the reason why we made it. Yeah. So this is our app is free for users, and we have also launched our app free for retailers because we wanted to build that product base. And we allow only up to 20 products in our free version, and then we give them tiers. So as soon as they go into the basic tier, they are able to upload up to 100 products. As of now, our predicted burn rate is around 3,50,000 per month, and we will be able to break even on a 12 to 14 month range. So how we made that, I mean, the modeling that we have done is we have tried cohort-based modeling. That is, we have said that the retailers who sign up on the first month, 60% of them will drop off in the second month, and beyond that, 50% will drop off on the third month. Next slide, please.
So one comment on this slide, before we go to the next slide, 9% conversion rate for freemium is a very high assumption.
Right.
Premium conversion rates, if you're doing 2%, you're doing very, very well. The highest conversion rates are 4% range.
Yeah. I mean, is it, the thing is that the numbers of 2% premium conversion rate are for online apps, isn't it? Something which is online. We are doing door-to-door. I mean, yeah. The thing is that the freemium model, we are going door-to-door. That is, we are going to every retailer by foot. And then
you cannot do that. That is not going to scale by any stretch of imagination. You cannot build this business by going door-to-door and selling at this price point, $1,500 a month, 1,500 rupees a month. That's like, you cannot sell door-to-door.
Sure. Okay.
It's not viable.
Right. So this is our
hold on. I'd like to get Tom's input on this. Tom, what do you think so far of what we've heard here?
So I guess I have a couple of questions. One is, and maybe you're getting to it later, like how are some of the retailers going to upload all their information? Because I would assume a lot of retailers aren't very familiar with that process. And then two, second question was, how are the users finding out about this app? Because obviously the users are going to drive whether a retailer is going to actually want to participate.
Yeah.
Right. The first question, I'll address the first question first. We have given, the intent was to hire salespeople who would regularly visit these stores in order to upload their pictures for them, or they could send their pictures and their products to us by the product details to us by email, and then we would upload it from the back end. That was a strategy for retailers. And as far as users getting to know of our app was, we wanted to have hoardings within our city which would display our app, and thereby they would get to know what look it was, and they would be able to download it.
So if I upload a dress and I've got a size small, medium, large, and 2 extra large in my store, and now it's online, and then later today someone comes in and buys the small and medium, is the online information going to be outdated within minutes?
True. What we have done is we have given something called an enquire stock. So as soon as a particular product has been sold and another user is interested in that particular product, there's an enquire button by which if he clicks it, immediately a notification is passed to the retailer asking him if that product is available. And if it is not available, then immediately we bring down the product, so that it's no longer visible to the user. So he only sees current products.
Ashwin, you're assuming that retailers are set up to answer queries like that. You know, if you're talking about small retailers, they will not have the setup to do any of this.
True. The thing is that we are using SMSs to handle this, because the mobile phone penetration is much more than a web penetration. So
doesn't matter, but they just don't have the bandwidth to do that. They don't have the staff or the bandwidth to do something like this. If you're saying that we're going to charge you 1,500 rupees per month, but you're going to have to hire a new person to actually process all these queries and help us sustain all this. It's not automated. It's not a machine-to-machine connection, so the data doesn't flow back and forth. This is not a scalable situation. There are a lot of things that I'm hearing here, and your answers to Tom's question about how you're going to get these retailers to upload data, your answer to that was with people, feet on the street going to retailers and your salespeople working through that process. That's not scalable either. None of these answers are scalable answers. So I have a lot of problems with your assumptions here.
True. Yeah. I mean, the question that you asked was that retailers are not set up to use this to use self-service interfaces. That is, we have a mobile phone application which is very easy to use. Are you saying that the retailers are not capable of using it, and therefore it's not going to work out? I mean, the thing is that there are two ways of solving this problem. One is to give to send our people in order to upload the products, which is we are investing our time and human resources in order to upload products. And the second way is we also have a self-service system by which we have given the app to the retailers by which they can upload their own products. And it's quite simple to use.
Yeah. You will see when the tire hits the road, you will see how what you're thinking is very simple, how complicated it is. Because this is not a market that is incredibly tech savvy, and they don't have the systems and processes in place to do these machine-to-machine integrations, and it's going to be, you will build a small business. You're not going to build a very scalable business anytime soon.
I mean, the point that you raised, that we need to automate the inventory system and we need to update inventory automatically. We had discussed it with retailers earlier. But what we found was the retailers were not willing to share the entire inventory with us. So that is the reason we had to resort to this.
Yeah, but this is not a sustainable situation. And then that, if you take all that feedback and roll it into your business assumptions, right? when you break even and at what time frame you break even, I think this is going to be very difficult to make it profitable, because the assumptions that you've made in terms of what it will take to sell this and how much effort it's going to take to sell, it's a highly unprofitable situation. So a lot of things raise flags for me here. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the one positive he's got is that he's already signed up 50 people, so I would take advantage of testing those people out, where their issue is going to be at, so you can kind of find what we're saying here pretty quickly.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, before this discussion, I actually did want to confirm, verify whether the assumptions that we've made are right or wrong. I mean, these assumptions were made, and I think we will have a look at them again and say we correct them again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck. Definitely using your, immersing yourselves in customers and getting granular feedback on all your assumptions is really important. Monitor stuff like how much effort is it taking you to sign up one of these 50. Across the 50 customers that you've signed up, try to understand what is the sales cycle, what does it take to sign them up, how much time, how much resources, what kind of sales cycle, and then understand what are the pushbacks, what are the objections, understand what is the workflow of making one of these retailers go live. And you will learn a lot by just immersing yourself in that process, and give it 6 months, and you will know what it takes to do the business that you are talking about doing.
Sure.
Okay. All right, Ashwin. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
I believe we are going to Shailaja next. Yes, Maureen? Okay, Shailaja. You are Doll Lady of India. All right, Shailaja, come and tell us what Doll Lady of India does.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shailaja from Hyderabad. Yes. So I am proud to introduce that I gave India its first ever doll. So next slide, please. So this is my product. It's Kiyaa. Kiyaa means queen of the bird in Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is the base of all Indian languages, so that's why we have that name. And it's a non-religious name, which is very important in India. So it's world's first ever Indian doll, and when we launched, we got international media also covered her story, and they all call it as Indian Barbie, which is Barbie is a 55-plus-year-old brand, and so Kiyaa is compared to her. This shows the product strength of Kiyaa. Next slide, please. So what is the opportunity? The thing is, India, such an ancient country, and we don't have a doll of our own till now. And also with growing global culture, parents feel more need to keep their kids rooted to Indian culture. So next slide. So here comes Kiyaa. So she's the first ever authentic Indian doll with perfect Indian features, and also the character is Indian. So apart from being a pretty doll, we also want her to give some value to the kids. So with her, kids get to learn from her stories and character and activities. Kids get to learn good behavior and, respect Indian values and culture. So next slide, please. So the total Indian toy market is 2.3 billion, and the organized toy market is growing at 35% because this is of urbanization, and more brand conscious and more NRIs are coming back to India. So in that, dolls contribute a major share, which is 13%. And I would say in India, there are not more options. People are loving, we got, free from Barbie, we want another doll. And that is Indian, they are more valuing it. And our target customers are 4 to 10-year girls who typically play with dolls. And also the young parents and NRS who particularly want the kids to get Indian culture. They want the kids to be rooted to their own culture. And also because whatever media coverage we got internationally also, the world doll collectors know that there is Indian doll now and she's the only one, and they are also seeking. So we see, apart from India and NRIs abroad, even the world doll collectors can be our target market. Next slide, please.
Okay.
So this is what we are going at. We want to acquire users, show them the value, because once we show a right value, we can create a great brand and then keep them engaged. So how we want to acquire users is create a Kiyaa as a girls' destination fashion brand, as well as the concept awareness is what we are focusing on through her stories, popularizing Kiyaa character, and through ads and special events like a doll day we are planning to have, which is not at all there in India. And already we do doll dressing workshops and other workshops which are very unique in India. And the value we believe, like, empower a girl, the whole nation is empowered. So even after our new Prime Minister, if you see, the girl empowerment is talking a lot in India. So this is where we want to show a value to our customers. Unlike a Barbie, which is just focusing on fashion, we want to give some value learning for the kids. We believe kids learn faster through play. And typically a girl who is 4-year-old plays till 10-year-old. So to keep them engaged so long, 6 years, we have to constantly come up with new stories, new doll looks, new dolls. And these days kids are on apps, cartoons. So we have to come up even with that and merchandise and all related things with what a character can come. We have to introduce them to keep whoever we capture customers, to keep them engaged. So next slide, please.
So Shailaja, before you go to the next slide, this slide that you just went through has everything other than the business model. What is your business model?
Yeah. So what how we generate money is, first is doll selling. We want to do. We do.
What is the price point of the doll selling?
In India, it's there in another slide. I'll show you. In India, it is 698 rupees. The doll, and in US it is $25, and we also have customized dolls other than our original doll, which in India is 2,400 plus.
Okay. And then you have all sorts of accessories and clothes and everything for the dolls that are separate. You charge for those as well, yes?
Yes, yes. That have not yet been launched. I have to launch them. We have accessories, merchandise, then workshops we do, and other than that, we want to come up with comics, cartoons, and all that. So all this would be our revenue model.
Okay.
Yeah. So we already, the first lot I ordered only 5,000 dolls, and in that already we sold 4,000 dolls. And Kiyaa has been covered even by international papers because of the product value. And recently, the New Indian Express also gave me a Baby Award for putting purpose into child's play. So, and also we have a lot of customers coming and especially asking for Indian doll. They want Indian doll. So we keep getting orders even from abroad. So this is what we are seeing for funding in 4 years. So it's and this funding we want to use for team building, manufacturing new products, because we want to create a big portfolio of products for that, and for marketing, and to keep whoever customers we capture to release constantly new products. We need that kind of funding.
And how profitable is your business? So this, you sold 4,000 dolls at a certain price point that you described, about $25 per doll. What is the gross margin? How much does it cost you to get those dolls filled?
Actually, since I bootstrapped for the China, 5,000 quantity of dolls is very less for them. So that's why for this initial production lot, it costed me more. I was having only 60% of a profit margin. That's why we are mostly on online. We are not into shops and all that. But as we go up with the volumes, usually in doll industry, in toys industry, it is minimum 200% is what the profit margin is generally. So it's all in volumes. We have to go up in volumes.
Okay. And have you talked to investors already about this investor stuff that you're presenting here? Have you already had conversations with investors?
It's very in the initial stage. I have to further pursue it.
Okay. Tom, what are your thoughts? This is in the niche e-commerce area that you are an expert in.
Yep, and in the toy industry, so that's good.
And
I love the idea. You know, it reminds me of two companies recently that I've seen get a lot of news. One, I don't remember the company name, but it's a anatomically correct doll, and they've got, you know, different nations. I know they got a ton of publicity online. I don't recall the company. And then the second is Goldie Blocks, which is like a erector set but for girls, and you know, their value is teaching girls how to build and everything else. And I know both those companies have gotten just a ton of press, so you know, I think the timing of this is probably pretty good. Just trying to find out, you know, my worry probably in the future would be, okay, if it is successful, how do you hold back someone like Mattel or some of these huge, you know, the Barbie company from just doing something similar? That would be one concern of how to look for that in the future. And I don't know, getting the doll made, and it would, for me, I think would be pretty easy. It's what is that value so that you can differentiate yourself really far from a Mattel or some other toy company who could come and make, you know, an Indian girl doll. How do you make sure that you're the authority in that realm?
Yeah. So Barbie have Indianized Barbie, and there are Indianized Barbies, but the character of the Barbie is still American. They won't change the story throughout the world. So
right. Well, I think what Shailaja, what Tom is saying is that if this concept succeeds, then Barbie might want to copy this concept. And whether Barbie or Mattel or one of the other toy companies who have a lot more money and a lot more resources can copy the concept. So it's essentially that issue that he's pointing out to you. Now, I would actually give you a couple of pointers to look into in devising your strategy that can be long-term defensible. First and foremost, I have a book called From E-Commerce to Web 3.0 that gets into a lot of the details and depths of where the e-commerce experience is going. So if you think pure e-commerce, and you're not, which I like very much, so you're thinking about content, you're thinking about community experience and so forth. So you're thinking in the right lines. You'll get a lot of, you know, insights from other people in other e-commerce ventures who have successfully differentiated and created this more e-commerce, more Web 3.0 experience than just a pure e-commerce experience, which gives you a lot higher defensibility. So look at that book. You will learn a lot from that. And then the other thing I would point you to is a company called Star Doll out of Sweden. If you haven't looked at what they do and how they do it, that's another good one for you to look at, is if you can build a community around your doll, Kiyaa, that is more along the lines of the Star Doll experience, user experience, that gives you huge defensibility. Of course, it's also a more expensive business to build. It's that kind of a business. It's not going to be buildable at these numbers, basically. You know, the dollar numbers that you state in terms of what you need. If you're doing a straightforward e-commerce business, this is okay. But if you're trying to build something more sophisticated, more differentiated, this is not going to be sufficient. And then the last point I would make is that I think, you know, the TAM assumption that you're stating here, if it is indeed a $300 million TAM, you will hear from VCs that it's small. So the question that you have to think through is, how do you show a bigger TAM than $300 million TAM? So, and I would encourage you to think about it more from a bottom-up TAM analysis modeling point of view, not top-down. This is a top-down TAM model. You need to understand how to build a bottom-up TAM model. Okay, I would say those are our feedback on your business so far. But it's very interesting. What you're doing is very interesting. I think you can build a successful business here, and I'll be happy to work with you further to help you flesh this out.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So I have just one question on Bootstrap. I don't know if you can take now or later.
Go ahead. You can ask the questions. We have one more presenter still, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this is a capital-intensive business because I have to create a portfolio of products. So with bootstrapping, parallelly creating so many products is tough for me. So, and as you say, the investors feel the TAM is less for for this product. So, what is the way? How can I balance that?
Well, that chicken and egg problem exists everywhere in every startup entrepreneur's life. So that, you have to work through that. Again, I'll be happy to advise you more granularly as we go along. There's we have a module in the curriculum that I'm going to probably assign you if you decide to work with us on your business. But the first thing I'm going to assign you is to study the bootstrapping module, and I'll probably point you to specific case studies that I'd like you to study. And then we're going to work out a game plan that kind of stages the business in a way. And Tom told you earlier as well, right? Tom has built his company organically. Today he has a large product portfolio, but when you begin, you have to start small you cannot expect to be able to afford to build a very large product portfolio off the bat. You're going to have to build organically and funnel the profits into the business. That's just how bootstrap businesses work. Tom, do you want to chime in?
Sure. So I guess the question is, do you plan on the majority of the sales coming from e-commerce, or are you looking to be a wholesaler and sell these to other retailers?
E-commerce.
Okay. So to me, if you're going e-commerce, I would think you can get your margins to a point where you can fund the business yourself. If you were going to go wholesale, I would say there might be a retailer who's interested in having a 6-month exclusive to have it out first, that they might pay 30% up front for you to go manufacture that first run. But if you're doing e-commerce, if the margins are there and eventually you can sell those products, the risk is probably pretty small, especially what it costs to just manufacture a toy doll to what you can retail it for. I would think you're pretty safe there.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thank you, Shailaja, for your presentation. We're going to go to Arup Datta. Arup, are you on the call? I know Arup had some technical difficulties. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Please go on.
Well, I'm sorry, there is some technical difficulty, yes, and I am having my slides ready here. Well, I am Arup Kumar Datta. I am also from Hyderabad, India. Last presenter is also from Hyderabad. That is good to see because a lot of things are happening in Hyderabad in particular. Well, I'm a teetotaler. That is my first slide. Now,
all right.
The name of my company is Excel Matrix Biological Devices. Excel Matrix stands for a technical jargon called extracellular matrix, which is a part of body's own polymer, which actually helps us to heal better, or the organs are in that milieu to behave in a manner they behave. So this part, unlike the cell biology, is also very important, which is now realized. Now, my value proposition is that through extracellular matrix, we want to cure wounds. The best part is that this is very easy process that we have devised in this with using this biomaterial, and that of course is much cheaper and saves time and trouble, and one can use it anywhere or in a home setting or in any emergency situation. That's a part of the device design, apart from biomaterial that we has innovated. Name of the company is very much there and the website. And this website will represent only the R&D aspect of it, rather than the medical or medical devices, which we have not been telling in public very often. Now, the next slide is what are our target customers? Now, primary customers are, of course, doctors and hospital in the B2B model, because doctor has to validate it. By the way, these devices are exempted for clinical trials, largely and across the world. And there are classes of medical device which require clinical trial and some don't. So it is always wiser to strategize it a kind of minimal viable product, and this is what we are proposing. Now, this eventually will graduate to much larger scale OTC product, that is over the counter, where you can walk into a pharmacy and buy it for your domestic use. Patient themselves can do it. So like vitamin or so, which is widely available without any prescription. Now, at the moment, the pain point is that cost factor in India is remarkably very, very high when it comes to healthcare. By the way, I'm still audible?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Please keep going.
Okay. Now, and with the aging population in India, convenience is also very, very important factor, because a aging person with chronic wound like diabetic patient with a leg ulcer cannot drive to a hospital every third day for dressing or so. Therefore, it is very important that home care is also available. Now, home care services are also not going to be very cheap unless you devise a method so that patient can largely take care of the wound themselves back in home. They have that much sense of hygiene about themselves. And of course, it will reduce the frequency of visit to hospital. And hence, it's quite a lot of saving of the money and time. Now, when it comes to acute wounds like accidents and some sports injury, again, what you need is a very rapidly deployable device. So, across the variety of wounds, there are hundreds of products. What we try to do is to take the commonalities out of each product feature and build it into a single device, and which is very much possible. In fact, there are enough scientific literature to support that. Now, as a business model is, of course, in India, all these medical products are too costly. Question is how to bring down the cost, which is affordable, which is very, very much a big issue in India. Now, what we have devised is particular process technology, which actually ensures the device cost remains very low. Then comes the question of distribution. So, well, the only thing I can think of for a very rapid distribution model is to model it something like Coke, because you have a franchise who manufactures, bottles it, and distributes it. All the Coke people do is to hold the brand and decide who will be the franchises who is able to deliver. So such kind of model probably will work out here, because we know bottled water or Coke is available across the rural India. So if they can do it, why not this kind of essential things can do it? Now, of course, customer acquisition. What we require is right now a GMP facility which is mandatory for medical device. We cannot just make it anywhere and sell it being a medical device. There are regulations on the manufacturing side as well. Now, what we wish is that we have a GMP facility, and that's what our main fundraising activities focused at the moment. Because without that, we cannot validate in the market side at all. This is costly affair. So that is what we believe will allow us to have real data for a bigger picture. Now, the idea is basically that we will present this product in medical conferences and of course in medical journals, and in a small trial run we will know how much we can move this product, and based on that we will pick a franchise to manufacture it under our brand. So that is the entire idea at the moment. Now,
so Arup, I have to say one thing, Arup. Medical device is not an area that we work in. So we don't have any particular expertise to offer on this front. And typically these medical device ventures are very difficult to bootstrap for a lot of the reasons that you are describing. So I don't have a very good understanding of how you're going to get this to a level of validation where you can, you know, get to the next level basically. So, and I don't even, I mean, you're talking about doing this in India. I don't really understand what is the, in America, for instance, there's a whole FDA process that's involved in, you know, in medical devices. You have to get approvals from, you know, from the federal government. So all that is a very different business. Medical device, biotechnology is a very different business, and that's not an area where we play and we have any particular expertise. So I would venture to say that this is probably not one that I should advise you on.
Okay, no, not at all, but what I can suggest perhaps here, because we are anyway talking and I believe I have got a couple of minutes in hand, there is a very good book written by Dr. Paul Yock of Stanford University called Biodesign. Now this book is a kind of Bible. Biodesign is the name of the book, and author's name is Paul Yock of Stanford University. And this book is quite a Bible, and it describes every step, every issue, not only technical but business and the validation, the regulatory, the intellectual property, anything and everything. And that's why I call it a Bible for medical device people. Now that will, of course, will be a very good homework in case you need a soft copy. It's available with me. But anyway, the book is always better to, you know, have a hands-on feeling. Yes, you are right. This is a difficult area. And by the way, the opportunity is that in India we don't have a device law. So what we need is a medically approved manufacturing facility, and the law do not discriminate a device as yet. So as long as it does not involve a drug, they will only give us an NOC, that is no objection certificate, and we can be into market.
Okay.
So
I have to accept what you say because I don't have an. So the question is not so much that medical device is hard or easy. Everything is hard. Entrepreneurship is hard, period. But we just don't have expertise in this area, so I can't say. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to give you advice on a topic that I don't know anything about.
Sure, I can understand it. But I was just wondering about other things, like, you know, my questions are there in the last slide. And I was just wondering if you can elaborate a little on that in case you have time.
You asked a question about equity crowdfunding.
That's one
equity
thing,
crowdfunding is a very, very new field. Actually, there's more precedence of equity crowdfunding in Europe right now than in America. In America, it's just becoming legal. So there's not a lot of experience in America on equity crowdfunding. In Europe, there is a bit more experience. So, but again, you know, equity crowdfunding works the best when the product is easy to understand, easy to validate, and easy to kind of make conclusions about. Like, you know, what Shailaja presented about the doll, that I think is more equity crowdfundable than your medical device, which is going to be hard for people to understand and hard for people to wrap their heads around.
Yeah, actually there are a lot of activity now in the US after this Job Act has been enacted.
There is activity, but again, fact, you will still see that it's not in the areas that are very difficult to validate technologically, or even in software, that's true, or in hardware it's true that areas that are difficult to validate, complicated business models and so forth, don't do very well in equity crowdfunding mode.
Actually, if I can give you this information, recently there are some, why I started thinking this, because I was contacted by some of them. And they have a very aggressive medical device, front as well. They realize that this is not a very easy thing compared to something which is better understood by general, investors. So they have a way of doing it, and they are very aggressive about it. But just I wanted to know if
so Arup, again, coming back to the caveat that I made earlier on, we don't know anything about what's happening vis-a-vis medical devices in equity crowdfunding. It's not an area that I track. It's not an area that we as a company track or meddle in, so we have no extra information. You have probably a lot more information than we do. So I don't think we can add value to your process there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So now, those of you who are working in IT and IT-enabled services, though, if you like what you're doing, what we are doing here, please refer other entrepreneurs who are working in IT and IT-enabled services. E-commerce is a very big area where we do a lot of work. You know, e-commerce, cloud, healthcare, IT, online education. All of these are areas where we do a lot of work. And if you have entrepreneurs in your network who are looking for help, looking for mentoring support in those areas, then please refer them to us. And we are looking for serious entrepreneurs who are willing to put in, you know, the multi-year work involved in, you know, doing the heavy lifting required to build a substantial company. You know, you heard Tom describe a journey that spans many, many, many years, right? It's not something that happens overnight. It takes a long time to build a sizable, successful company. So at any rate, Tom, thank you very much for sharing your story as well as participating in helping some of our entrepreneurs along with it. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Nice
You're
to see
very
you again.
welcome. We'll have you again sometime later in the program. Okay, folks, I will spend a few minutes explaining to you how to use 1M1M. You know, these are questions that we get all the time. Feel free to ask questions about these, you know, different aspects of 1M1M as as we go through this segment. It will take me 5 or 7 minutes to just walk you through how 1M1M works, and feel free to ask questions, then interrupt me. So everything we do is virtual. Everything we do is global. Everything we do is virtual. It's very amusing, actually, that today we had 3 entrepreneurs from Hyderabad, India. Last week we had one from Barcelona, Spain, one from Chile, and one from Canada, and there was a 4th one, I don't remember, from somewhere in North America, I think, actually in Silicon Valley, I think. So, you know, we kind of like work with whatever is the first come, first serve set of entrepreneurs who sign up and send in slides. And you can literally access this program from anywhere in the world, and that's by design. We wanted to democratize entrepreneurship education and incubation, which is why we have structured the program the way we have, and we guarantee that we can add value into your process wherever you are, just because we have now almost 5 years of track record of doing this effectively. So what you will find in terms of resources, you will find a very, you know, extensive blog where we have lots of rich information that you will learn a lot from. Some of, you know, as I'm working with you in these working sessions, I often refer you to case studies, like today with Shailaja, I was talking about Stardoll. Shailaja, you will find the Stardoll case study on the blog. It's one of the, you know, case studies on the blog, and you'll find everything about it on the blog itself. And then we also have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, of which we have 12 volumes already, and you'll find all of them on Kindle. Some of them you'll find in paper book format also, but all of them are available in digital book format on Amazon Kindle. You know, there's a ton of material on our website in terms of what to expect from the program and so forth, and I strongly encourage that you spend time on the website to try to understand the program, because this is an online program. It's actually a good test for you to see whether you can actually learn online or not. And if you're not comfortable with learning online, this program is not for you. This is an online program. The curriculum is in video lectures and case studies, and we will require that you learn a lot on a web self-service mode, and then we will have you in these roundtable sessions where we discuss. So we have these free roundtables where you can come and work with us anytime you would like. And you know, every Thursday we have these free roundtables. This is the 271st session of that. You can sign up on the online, but then we also have private sessions within the premium program. We work with you on your business, your project, you have the combination of the asynchronous learning with the video lectures and case studies, and then in the synchronous coaching like this in the private roundtable. So that's where the strategy consulting, the mentoring, the coaching happens. So the premium program is a $1,000 annual membership fee. We offer you extensive methodology guidance. We have a great curriculum, and the reason I can say that it's a great curriculum is because we have trained huge numbers of entrepreneurs using this curriculum at this point, and it has over 600 entrepreneurs like Tom and like many others like Tom who have contributed their stories and their journeys and their learnings into this curriculum. And you get to learn from over 600 successful entrepreneurs. That's what makes it powerful. We help you with business development, we help you with financing, we help you with media. All of these are part of the premium program. You can go to the website and look up the $1 Million Club, where we have case studies of successes in the program. There's an ROI equation also on the homepage. You will find orientation material. So all this is available for you to kind of dig around. So spend time digging around on the website to really understand the program in your process of deciding whether you want to be part of this or not. And I keep saying this program is not for everybody. If you're not a self-starter, if you're not comfortable with online learning, self-learning, this is probably not the program for you. So that's pretty much it in terms of, there's, as I said, what to expect from the premium program. All these things are in there. Many of you are contemplating funding, right? It's a very common question that we get in these sessions as well as within the premium program. Many of you come here contemplating funding. So what I'm going to do, if you decide to work with us, what I'm going to have you do is go to the core curriculum and study 2 modules in particular. One is bootstrapping, the other is financing. And then you will see, as you're studying the financing module, you'll also have to understand the concept of bottom-up TAM analysis, and that's in the market sizing module. So these 3 modules will give you a lot of the basic information that you need to kind of draw some conclusions on your own about your own business. So the curriculum will give you a lot of the base information of trying to make that decision, and then at the private roundtables, I will work with you, on a regular basis for you to decide what is the right strategy for you, whether it's venture funding, whether it's bootstrapping, whether it's some other kind of alternative financing. We will figure all that out, but you will have to do some studying on your own, and then we're going to work together in these roundtable formats. That's how we work. That's how this program works. These are working sessions. These roundtables are working sessions. The public roundtables are working sessions. The private roundtables are working sessions. We are here to work with you shoulder to shoulder in helping you make decisions about your business. And as long as you're working in an area where we have expertise, we know how to help you. So, the curriculum has core, where we have 7 topics: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. So many of you are struggling with customer acquisition. We're going to have you study the customer acquisition module, then we will, you're going to come up with some strawman strategies for customer acquisition. We will work with you and help you fine-tune that. So that's how, that's how you would use the program. Then we have a bunch of elective modules which are aligned with industry segments. So it could be Web 3.1 e-commerce. If you're building an e-commerce company like Shailaja is doing, you would spend time in the Web 3.1 e-commerce module, learn a lot there, and also brainstorm, work with me at the roundtables, but within that, the framework of that industry-specific module, and so forth. Okay, so our methodology is lean, capital-efficient, bootstrap startups. If your assessment or if your conclusion is that right out of the gate you need to raise $50 million, we are probably not the right program for you. That's not the kind of businesses that we work with. As I said, we also help you with media coverage. So we have a lot of, leverage in the media. We have a lot of clout in the media, and we can help you get your word out through our media clout, and that includes extensive social media presence. That's pretty much it. You know, if you're building an entrepreneurship ecosystem in some part of the world and you want to work with us, we can certainly partner with you either as an affiliate partner or with our Incubator in a Box program. Going forward, we have 2 more roundtables this summer, and then September is chock full every Thursday. In September, we have roundtables. Next week, we are taking some time off, and that's our only week off this summer, and we're not going to have any roundtables next week. Now, those of you who haven't yet come up with an idea, you can also look at Vision India 2020, which is a book of ideas. It's actually written as if we are sitting in 2020 looking back on building on a set of ideas that I have already published. So you can take any of these ideas and develop them on your own. And these ideas, many of them would apply to other emerging markets as well. It could be Africa, it could be East Asia, it could be Latin America. But these ideas are written in the context of India, but could apply to other geographies as well. But emerging markets typically. And then we have this Incubator in a Box product, which we use with our corporate partners and government partners and other kinds of partners to incubate communities of entrepreneurs on their behalf. So if that's your role, you can also contact us to learn more about the Incubator in a Box. There is a lot of information on the website as well. Okay, that's pretty much it. We can go to questions just quickly. The most recent Entrepreneur Journeys books are Billion Dollar Unicorns, Carnival in the Cloud, Bootstrapping with a Paycheck, and From E-Commerce to Web 3.0. And that's pretty much it. We're ready for call-in. Instructions are on your screen. If you'd like to call in, we have plenty of time to do Q&A today. So while you're doing that, let me go through what has already been typed into the public chat, and I will try to pick up the questions from here. Let's see. Shailaja's question is your advice on funding in India. Shailaja, again, I'm going to point you to another book which deals with this topic extensively. The book is called Seed India, and it's also available on Amazon Kindle, both in India as well. So pick up that book and you'll have a very comprehensive input from me on funding in India. Narayana is asking, hi, I am the promoter of Lana Trading School from India. My business is to spread stock market trading and investment in India. I need your help expanding my business. Narayana, as I said, you can join the 1M1M program, and we'll work with you like we work with all entrepreneurs. So we're very happy to work with you, but we work with you within the program, within the 1M1M program. Now, if anybody is waiting on the call to speak with me, please let us know in public chat that you are calling in so that I know to call for you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
This is Prasad Hassan, Sramana, from Washington, D.C.
What is your name again?
Prasad Hassan.
Prasad Hassan, okay. Prasad, go ahead. Please ask your question.
No, actually, this is I was not completely prepared. I wanted to listen to this is my first program that I'm attending, your program. Yeah, I wanted to listen. In fact, I had ideas, but first I would like to listen and get used to what you're doing, and then I'll plan to do that. Yeah,
and Prasad, in that process, I also recommend that you listen to some of the recordings of our roundtables on the YouTube channel. There are numerous recordings. As you can imagine, this is our 271st roundtable, and recordings of all prior sessions are available on YouTube. So if you, in the process of understanding what we are doing, how we are doing, If you spend some time listening to a few roundtables, you'll get a good feel for how this works.
Definitely, I will do so. I'm very, very interested in learning from online. In fact, most of my learning came from in the last 1.5 decades is through online. But that is the one more question I wanted to ask. How do you recognize and those tacit knowledge and tacit skills people might have acquired over a period of time, which they don't have much, kind of a certification for that? As an entrepreneur myself, I did try 3 to 4 startup things, but somehow it didn't go through. But my spirit is still alive, very much alive. I'm still pursuing the similar thing. So I would like to ask one question.
First and foremost, failure is part of doing startups. We do not at all hold the fact that you have tried and failed against you, because you've learned a lot. People actually who fail learn a lot more than people who succeed, because in success there's a lot of luck involved. But when you fail, you actually have to pause and think, what did you do wrong? What was wrong with the strategy? What was wrong with the execution, and so forth. So that's just the reality of the business.
Yeah, I had to go through that one and keep. The only question is, I'm thinking like whether I can contribute for some time, because for me coming to US itself an entrepreneurial effort.
I'm not sure what your question is about contributing. What exactly do you mean by contributing?
Contributing in the sense contributing my skills. I would like you to go through my profile, if you can, if you have time, in my LinkedIn profile.
Prasad, let me just be very clear. We do not have any positions that we are recruiting for right now. Our team is completely staffed, and we do not really have. So I think, let's just take this offline. This is probably not a good forum to discuss it. And right now, we don't have any positions open. So if that's the question you're asking, we don't have opportunities at the moment.
No, that is not the question. Anyway, I wanted to add some more elements to your dreams and visions of 1 million by 1 million. That was my thing. Anyway, I will take it offline and I will come up with an idea next time. I'll present it to you next time.
Okay. All right. Christian Van Voorst, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. What is your question?
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for this nice hosting.
Where are you calling from, Christian?
What did you say?
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the Netherlands, in Holland.
All right, fantastic. And what project are you working on?
We're currently working on a new, how do you say it? Let me refer it like marketing sales dimension, which currently isn't in the world. So we all know marketing sales. We all know where to sell. We all know that we can do it on the street and online. But now we are working on a new step. So developing the new marketing sales strategy. That's the new.
Christian, my recommendation is you sign up to pitch at one of the upcoming roundtables with slides, and I'll be happy to work with you on your project, like we did today with the other entrepreneurs who had sent in their slides ahead of time.
Yeah, it's always good to have other entrepreneurs around, other opinions, but way ahead at the moment. We made a giant leap, and if you add all the other entrepreneurs had like 10 slides or 5 slides or to explain what they were doing, and then you had a lot of questions about how did they come to the revenue. We only have one slide, and in this one slide everything's told. And you can also see where the revenue comes from. So I think it's the other way around, like we can give both a lot of advice, but it's more give than take, you know. And I also want to thank Tom for his contribution today. I think his domain fun.com is a very nice one. It looks like Virgin, so everybody knows Virgin. So if you have a smaller one, fun is only 3 digits, so that's even better to market. So Tom, good luck. You're already multi-millionaire, so it could be going very.
Thank you, Christian. I'd like to take another question from the public chat before I close up the session. We're actually out of time.
Okay.
Thank you for your contribution.
Please.
Narayana is asking, in one of your recordings, you were telling that a market of $20 million is not attractive. I think in India, this size is reasonably good. Narayana, $20 million, if you're bootstrapping, is fine. A venture capitalist is not going to be interested by a $20 million market. That's what I said. I didn't say it's not a value judgment whether if the market is good or bad. If you're bootstrapping a company, if you're doing something niche and you can build a $20 million business bootstrap, that's perfectly fine. There's no problem with that at all. But if you're trying to raise venture financing for a $20 million market opportunity business, that's not going to work. That was my point. Okay, does that clarify, Narayana? Okay, folks, we are out of time for today, so we'll have to wrap up. I want to introduce you to Irina Patterson. For those of you who have questions about the 1M1M program, please contact Irina at 1mby1m.com. Before you do that, however, I would request you to spend time on the website. We've tried to make the website extremely rich and informative. So if the chances of your questions being answered on the website is very high. So I would really appreciate if you spend time on the website and get up to speed before asking, obvious questions. Irina will be happy to guide you, but there is a tremendous amount of material on our website already. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll see you not next week, but the week after for the next roundtable, the 272nd roundtable. And I look forward to working with you further. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for coming.